And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking driver numbers and what they mean. Numbers, well, these are the driver numbers. For example, Lewis Hamilton is synonymous with the number 44. But why? Now, this driver phenomenon has not been going on forever in Formula One. What used to happen back in, I think, in the 2000s, for example, is the world champion got number 1. Ergo, his teammate naturally got number 2. And it went down from there. But if the world champion, for example, and the constructors champions were the same team, like Red Bull in the last few years, other than last year, 1 and 2, and then the next ones down in the constructors championship would have 3 and 4, and then the people that finished third would be 5 and 6, and so on. The caveat being, last year, take for example, Max Verstappen won the drivers, 1 and 2, but because McLaren won the constructors, they would have been 3 and 4. Yeah, it's a bit weird, those rules. But this all changed now. It has absolutely all changed, the rules. And drivers are now allowed to pick their numbers. And, well, let's see what they mean. So, what do the numbers mean for the drivers? Well, let's quickly have a look at the rundown of all of the drivers' numbers. And here we go. So, obviously, Verstappen is at number 1. We'll get into all of them in a bit. Ollie Berman is the highest number with 87. I believe it's between 1 and 99. There's Lewis Hamilton with his synonymous 44 there. We've got Tsunoda, number 22. What's interesting about number 22, this was also the number that Jenson Button had. But it's kept for a few years, and after a while, I mean, the number is kind of retired, let's say. Retired. So, let's then get into the here's the whys and the wherefore. So for some, these numbers are just numbers, but to others, they are much more than that. Are you superstitious? Are they even magical? So, some numbers previously used by world champions have been taken again for 2025 as we welcome a bunch of rookies. So, after race numbers were dictated by the previous year's Constructors' Championship, which I just said, the FIA changed these rules in 2014, so it's been going on for just over 20 years. And this is to allow drivers to choose their own permanent race numbers between 2 and 99, with obviously the world champion getting the number 1. And that's reserved, really, for Max Verstappen this year. Who is it going to be next year? Pray tell. Wouldn't that be one? Wouldn't that be good? So, once one of these numbers is chosen, drivers are not allowed to change their number at all throughout their Formula One career. So, in a way, they're synonymous with their number. It's part of their branding for some. If a driver's desired number is unavailable at the time they enter the grid, they have to pick their second choice or, wow, even third if it is unavailable, etc., etc. So the FIA rules, they say that a number of drivers must be out of use for 2 full seasons before it can be made available again. This is to allow for appropriate time for a driver to either come out of retirement or even regain their seat. We're talking to you, Kevin Magnussen. We are talking, well, not Mick Schumacher anymore. He's been out for more than 2 years, for example. But this means for drivers who lose their seats mid-season, their numbers will be reserved for 2 full championships years, essentially. Afterwards, number 5, for example, Vettel, number 6, Latifi, number 47, Mick Schumacher, and 88, Robert Kubica, all became available again at the end of 2024, 2 of which have been snapped up straight away for 25. We'll let you know who it is. So, the first number, as obviously Max Verstappen is number 1, but the first number to go was Logan Sargent. His number's going to go in. He's number 2. It's not the first number, but in 2027. Danny Ricciardo's in 2027 as well, number 3. Also Perez, Magnussen, they're all going to go in 2027. They kind of get ticked off the list. Danny Ricciardo number 3, Sergio Perez number 11, and Kevin Magnussen number 20. But let's not get into that. Let's get into the numbers and the drivers. So the world champion, Max Verstappen. We can all guess what number he is. Max Verstappen has number 1, and that's his right as a champion. Now, before that, he used the number 33 when he wasn't world champion. That was all the way back in 2021. Do you remember that? So while number 3 was believed to be his first choice, apparently, that was taken by Danny Ricciardo. He opted for number 33 instead. Now, prior to his Formula 1 arrival, he posted a picture of himself as a child driving a toy car with 33 on it. Oh man, he said, excuse me, since I was a young kid, I was racing around with this number, so I thought it was nice to keep that in F1 as well. So Max Verstappen number one. We're doing this pretty much in chronological order. Who is going to be number 4? It's going to be this guy here. Number 4, Lando Norris. So just get a quick drink. So he admitted, like Verstappen, 2 of his numbers, though, in this case, were from his early days in racing, 11 and 31. They were already taken when he arrived in Formula 1 by Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon. So he opted for number 4 to make use of the marketing opportunities to come with it. He said, 4 was the best for me in the end, mainly because it fitted very nicely into my logo. There we go. I mean, I guess that's fairly simple, isn't it? So next up is the first person to reuse a number for the last couple of years, a World Championships number, no doubt. And I'm just trying to find him here. He is going to be part of the Kick Sauber team. So obviously it is not Hulkenberg because he's new. It's Gabriele Bortoletto. Sorry. He's chosen the number 5 for his F1 career, which was last used by a certain 4-time world champion who retired in 2022. Yes, Sebastian Vettel. The number became available again as he prepared to enter Formula 1, and he has previously had success with it, having won his 22 Formula 3 titles using the number 5 in his rookie season in that category. He confirmed that that was essentially the reason behind taking it, alongside its derivative from 85, which he used to use in karting. Obviously, he's just taken the 8 off and used the 5. So there you go, Gabriele Bortoletto. But next up is another rookie. It's part of the VCARB team, and it's Tsunoda's teammate, otherwise known as Isaac Hadjar. He's using the number 6. This was last used by Nicholas Latifi, former Williams driver in Formula 1. But Hadjar's connection with the number appears to go a long way back. After his deal with Racing Bulls was announced for 2025, Hadjar posted a picture of himself during his karting days. Yep, number 6. Number 6, kart number 6. So fingers crossed. Let's hope that brings Mr. Hadjar luck. Another number, which is seen to be quite magical for some, is a number that Doohan needs, and some might argue he needs as much magic as he can get when he's got a boss like Flavio Briatore. But Doohan joins the grid this year. He takes the number last used by the 2007 world champion, everyone's favourite Finn, Kimi Räikkönen. It's a special meaning for him too, having raced with it with the Iceman's Double R team in Euro Formula in 2019 before carrying it in F3 Asia the following year. Yeah, that's Mr. Doohan. He said, I really wanted to go with a number that I raced with before, something that had meaning for me. Doohan said in November. He said also, one of my idols, a super special person and driver, Kimi Räikkönen, drove with that number. I'm really looking forward to continuing it on and make it my own and getting some luck from the number 7. Seven dwarves. Yeah, I mean, it's 7. Was it 7 rings? I don't know. But it is well known to be a magical number. So next up is the number 10. And I'm going to have to try and guess where this guy's landed. I know it's an Alpine driver, and it is a French Alpine driver in the guise of Pierre Gasly. He's picked number 10. He raced with great success in the Formula Renault European Championship all the way in 2013. Now, alongside that, he acknowledged he's also a huge fan of French footballer legend Zinedine Zidane, who, wore the number 10 on his shirt whilst playing for France. Looks like, I mean, it's given him a fair luck, I guess. He's won a race, hasn't he, with that number in a Toro Rosso, something that Max Verstappen didn't do. Just throwing that out there. I'm not really throwing shade at Max. I'm just saying it's quite impressive. If you remember Sebastian Vettel as well in the Toro Rosso / AlphaTauri, whatever they were called. They were called Toro Rosso back then. Won it in 2008. Embarrassing the Red Bull team. Anyway, I digress, because next up we have another rookie, if you can believe it, and it's this guy here, Lewis Hamilton's replacement, number 12, Kimi Antonelli. He brings it back on the grid for the first time since Felipe Nasr in 2016, when he makes his debut in Australia. Well, he's already made his debut, he hasn't for testing, but officially. He confirmed it related to an idol of his, Ayrton Senna, who raced with it from 1985 right through to his first title-winning campaign in 88. But Antonelli also used it for racing Italian Formula 4, Formula Regional Championship Glory in 22 and 23 respectively. He told the media, including this article from planetf1.com, When his Mercedes drive was announced, he said, "I've many numbers that I like, but 12 is a special one. Also because of an idol. I've been using it since F4, so it always went well with 12, so no reason to change it for a year." Nice one. Next up, we have Aston Martin driver, and it is the Aston Martin driver of Alonso, and also my brother's favourite number, if he's listening. For number 14, Fernando Alonso for the Aston Martin. So a moment of fate connected Alonso with this number 14, 7 times 2, going way back into his junior career. And when asked why he picked this race number, there's no reason why he would have picked anything else, because he said, "When I was 14 years old, on the 14th of July, and with the go-kart number 14, I was world champion. From that moment, I had no doubt that number 14 is my number." I guess, to be fair, you can't really argue with them, can you, after that? So, from Fernando Alonso, from an Aston Martin to another famous car make, Ferrari, and Charles Leclerc. He's number 16. Now, Leclerc did not appear to get his first or even second choice. He's one of the few people that probably had a third choice. He had hoped for number 7, but that was taken by Kimi Raikkonen. His second choice was number 10. Sadly, Pierre Gasly had jumped on that, so he opted instead for number 16, as 1 plus 6 is 7. Simple enough maths, I guess. Well, there we go, Charles Leclerc. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that other than well done. So next up is the other Aston Martin driver. Yes, it is Canada's own Lance of the Stroll, and he admitted to being a little superstitious about his choice of number, ergo number 18, as it was the number he ran while winning titles in Formula 3 and Formula 4. He said, "I'm a little superstitious, not very superstitious, but little things that are important to me," he said. "I've just stuck with it ever since, and I don't want to change." And that is number 18. That's Aston Martin. Well done, Lance Stroll. So next up, we have 22. Now, number 22 is going to belong to Bortoletta's, no, not Bort, Hadjar's teammate. Sorry, they're next to each other on my list. But it's Yuki Tsunoda. Arguably the man that something should be in the Red Bull team, but another one of the not quite first choices though. Tsunoda runs with the number formerly used by the 2009 champion Jenson Button. Tsunoda said he wanted the number 11 initially, having used it in karting, but as that was taken by Sergio Perez when he joined the grid in 21, he opted to double it and run with 22 instead, Jenson Button's old number. And I guess I don't know, has it given him luck? Well, it's kept him in the Formula 1 team. I think he's going to need a bit of luck because it's quite clear that Red Bull don't want his services, really. He's almost there by default. I think he's a lot more talented than Red Bull led on, but there we go. Anyway, I digress. That's us just talking about it. So next up, what comes after 22? Yes, you clever people. It is number 23, and that is the number that Alex Albon has. Now he's a big Valentino Rossi fan. He's raced with helmets inspired by the Doctor at certain events since his arrival in Formula 1. He's also used the MotoGP's legend's famous number 46 in his karting days. But he explained he did not want to do the same thing in Formula 1, writing on X or Twitter, if you will, prior to his arrival on the grid. "I've always been a big Rossi fan, but since I can't replace the Doctor himself, I thought I'd have half of it." I mean, fair enough. I do like that. Can't argue with that. I like that. So, next up is everyone's favourite driver that hasn't yet got a podium. Yes, it is Nico Hülkenberg. The number 27 is a very famous number in those history books of Formula 1. Most notably, we've got Gilles Villeneuve through his period of success with Ferrari, while Ayrton Senna ran it to title glory with McLaren in that 1990 season. Now, Nico Hülkenberg, reportedly at least, has an altogether more personal reason for running it. However, as it's the dates in his birthday added up, August the 19th, or 19 plus 8. So, yeah, I guess, once again, there's a lot of maths, isn't there? So next up, we have a driver who is a teammate of a very successful driver, Max Verstappen being his teammate. I'm just looking for it. It is this guy here, the New Zealander Liam Lawson. Now, there are personal reasons behind this number 30, this choice, which he was able to use after running number 40 while standing in for Daniel Ricciardo in 2023. He revealed a mentor of his from his karting days ran with number 30 and said, "Our number is now in Formula 1 as a result." Oh, that's actually really nice. Revealing in a video for VCarb on Instagram, he said, 30 wasn't actually the very first number I drove with. that was 18. But in my first year of go-kart racing, I moved into a team, and there was a guy who looked after me who became like my hero, my idol, when I was a kid in go-karts. And he ran with the number 30. So I picked number 30 because of him. I think that's really lovely. Oh my God, for me, that's one of the nicest stories. I mean, all of them are, but yeah, I think this wins the day though so far. Liam said he taught me everything about go-karting when I was younger, and then basically I held that number all the way until today. And I've told him as well that I'm bringing our number back to Formula One, and he's bleeping stoked. Oh, that's really, really nice. That almost choked me up a bit. Okay, next up we've got Esteban Ocon's number. Now, he, as we know, he is the new Haas guy, the new guy Haas, and like his former teammates Gasly and Alonso, he has number 31, but Ocon chose his number for Formula One after a particularly successful year while running with that number. He took the Championnat de France title in Mini-Me category in karting in 2007, while using it a year he regards as one of the best of his careers in the Junior Series, which prompted Ocon to choose it when he reached Formula One. Absolutely, why not, Esteban? Next up, we have... once again, a very famous set of numbers, but famous because of one man. It is Ferrari's newest driver, Lewis Hamilton, with the famous 44. Now, he famously drove his early karting days with the number 44. When he had the chance to choose his own race number, 44, obviously, naturally, was his choice. He also explained there was more than one connection to the number, saying, when I was 8, I got a really old go-kart, and it was owned by like 5 or 6 different families. He said it was from the back of the newspaper. My dad got this kart, rebuilt it, and had to enter our first race, and my dad didn't know what number to use. And on the number plate of his car, it was F44. F for Ferrari, maybe. But yes, F44. Oh, that's actually a really nice story as well. Well done, Lewis Hamilton. Next up, we have all the 5s, 55. And the man that's going to be wearing those 55 is... this guy right here. It is Carlos Sainz. Now, like Norris, Sainz opted to make the most of the situation in front of him by turning the lack of availability of his preferred number, which was number 5. Sadly for him, it was Sebastian Vettel that had it. But it wasn't just the number 5 you wanted. Yes, he did double it, so to speak. No, not to 10. Double the 5s to 55. And he thought about marketing. So one S is 1 5, the other S is another 5. So it's 55, he explained. My favourite number is 5. Sebastian Vettel had the 5, so I had to change it. But there we go. It's all the S's. Carlos Sainz. Next up then, we have the Mercedes lead driver, and he's going into Australia. Could it change this year? Maybe. I don't think so, though. I think George has got it. But George Russell, number 63. He races on his car, and it seems to be a family number amongst the Russells. His older brother, Benji, was a karting champion in his own right, and yet, you guessed it, he ran with the number 63. George kept it going in his junior career before eventually graduating to Formula One. I always secretly thought, because number 6 almost looks like a G, and number 3 almost looks like a B, like his logo. It stands for GB, as in Great Britain. Or G for George, and I don't really think you can do the 3 as enough. But that's what I used to. That's what I thought. I was obviously wrong. There we go. But anyway, next up is the year I was born. This number here. So I'm a massive fan of it. I'm a massive fan of the team as well. And I'm a massive fan of the driver. It's Oscar Piastri. Come on down. So like many on the grid, Piastri used the number 81 going back to his karting days. Although he explained he had used the number 11 for his first races because the kart shop he went to at the time had only one number in stock, and it had to be a 1 or 2 digit number used. He added on in the Fastlane podcast. Then when we entered, I think it was the Victorian State titles, and somebody already had entered as number 11. I don't know what inspired me to pick 81, but I changed the first one for a number 8, and it's stuck ever since. So there you go. Fairly basic, but it's the year I was born. Yeah, I'm old. Thank you, Oscar Piastri. So from 81, add a few numbers, and you get a man who is a rookie, although he's not entering his first Formula One race this year. It is the other Haas driver of Ollie Behrman. Now, like Russell, there is a family connection behind his choice. He explained to the media when he was announced as the Haas driver, saying, it's the number that I've raced since the beginning. He says, it's a number my dad raced with because I'm born on the 8th of May and my brother on the 7th of August. So 87 was the number of choice, and that will continue to be the case. I think that's really nice as well. Best story, though, for me is Liam Lawson. They were all great. Best story is absolutely Liam Lawson, though. But if you made it to the end, which I jolly well hope you did, please if you can, I'm just trying to find the button. There we go. Give us a subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. That'll be amazing so you don't miss a video. There's also a notification button you can hit so you don't miss a video if you're subscribed. But you clicking on this video is more than enough. Making it to the end, absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. If you want to do a bit more and help the channel, hit that like button, comment below. Let us know what your number would be if you were to enter Formula 1. I've always gone with the number 39 because it's the year my dad was born. What do you guys think? Anyway, I digress. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. See you soon, but above all else, stay safe.